What is up? Today I'll be teaching you how to reduce a matrix to echelon form. We have a 3 by 3 matrix here. This is row 1, this is row 2, and this is row 3. The first step to reduce a matrix to echelon form is to find pivot points. And it'll be way easier if you make the pivot points 1. And the second important step is to get zeros below the pivot point. This is really important. So in this case, if the first pivot point is 1, also remember the pivot point always starts from the top and goes to the bottom. So starts here, goes to the bottom. We have a number here, not a 0, so this is a pretty good case. So we have to make sure every entry below 1 is 0. Let's do it. We have to make sure this is 0 and this is 0. To make it 0, we should be doing matrix operations, also known as row operations. How can we make this number a 0? 3 is in row 2. 3 minus 3 times row 1, which is 1 in this case, will give us 0. 3 minus 3 times 1 is 0. Let's put it down here, 0. Let's go to the second entry of row 2. 0 minus 3 times negative 1 will give us 3. And for the third entry of row 2, 2 minus 3 times 2 will give us negative 4. So we have 0. So we have a 0 below 1. Now we can proceed to the third row. Third row, the first entry is 1. How can we make it 0? Using row 1. We can do this. Row 1 minus, no, my bad. Row 3 minus row 1 will give us 0. Let's see if that's the case. 1 minus 1 will give us 0. Negative 3 minus negative 1 will give us negative 2. And 1 minus negative 2, no, 1 minus 2 will give us negative 1. This is the matrix after the first step of row operations. Now we choose our second pivot point. Let me teach you how to choose the second pivot point. When you choose the pivot point, always think the pivot points are found when you do a staircase. Like a staircase from top here, down here. So the numbers sitting on the staircase will be your pivot points. This is gonna be in like most of your cases, unless you have a 0, which we will see in other examples. So if you do the staircase method, 3 will be our second pivot point. The important point I said in like the beginning of the video was to make the pivot point a 1. How can we do that? We can do that by dividing all the entries of row 2 by 3, which will give us 1, negative 1, 2, 0, 1, negative 4 over 3, 0, negative 2, and negative 1. Now the second important step was to get the entry below the pivot point, which is now 1, as 0. How can we do that? 1, negative 1, 2, 0, 1, negative 4 over 3, 0, negative 2, negative 1. Let's erase this. So how can we make negative 2 as 0? when 1 is the first entry for row 2. We can do the following. Row 3, which is -2 in this case, minus -2 times R2, which will give us 2 plus, no. Oh, this is wrong, my bad. Row 3, row 3 plus 2 times R2. My bad. So we have -2 plus 2, which will give us 0. 0. And here we'll have row 3, which is -1. Minus, because let me do it here so it's a bit more clean. Row 3, which is -1 in this case, -1 plus 2 times 4 over 3, which will give us -1, -8 over 3, which will give us -11 over 3. We got 0 below the second pivot point, so this step is good. Now we go to the last step. What is the last step? Let's do the first step. To do the last step is to figure out the pivot point. Let's do the staircase thing again. 1, 1. This is going to be our last pivot point. We're going to go to the first row, make the pivot point a 1. So -11 over 3 should be divided by -11 over 3 should be divided by 3 over -11 over 3, which will give us -11 over 3 times this thing, which will give us 1. Nope. 1. Sorry for my arithmetic mistakes. I'm pretty tired. So we'll have 1, -1, 2, 0, 1, -4 over 3, and 0, 0, 1. So the matrix reduced to echelon form will be 1, 0, 0, -1, 1, 0, 2, -4 over 3, and 1. This is the echelon form. Thank you for watching the video.